I love this. Feminism is cancer. Teaching the kids early on what's going on. Amazing.
The one moment from the chaos in Baltimore that had people cheering for more.
Mother of the Year.
I leaped out of my chair and said, yes!
I was captivated.
Captivated by a Baltimore mother reading
Yes.
the riot act to her 16-year-old son.
Who was rioting?
To
Ooh!
remove him from the riot,
Wow.
we now know her name is Toya Graham, and she's a single mom of 5 girls and a boy.
Good for her.
Here's
Good
what she
for
told
her.
CBS News about her brand of tough love.
That's my
Absolutely.
only son. And at the end of the day, I don't want him to be a Freddie Gray.
The
Good for
Baltimore
you.
man whose
Good
death
for
in
you.
police custody sparked protests. Her tough discipline won muttered admiration and outright applause.
Of a mother desperately trying to keep her son from joining the rioters. And you know, she saw.
She quickly started to trend on Twitter, hashtag Baltimore Mom. She went to pick up her son at the mall because she heard trouble was brewing there.
He said, Mom, he said, when I seen you, my instinct was to run. You know, I'm a no-tolerant mother. He knew he was in trouble.
The video was shared and analyzed from the right
Like, look, right there is the moment that I think just gripped my heart.
and the left.
Here's a kid that'll take a brick and throw at a cop, but ducks when his mother comes and slap him.
Is he the perfect boy? No, he's not. But he's mine.
Send in the moms, read one headline. Maybe you really
Absolutely.
are the mother of
Absolutely.
all moms when
Can you imagine what
inspire
that
this
kid had?
kind of
You know
look
what?
in
What's going to
tough
happen when
guy's son?
his friends,
One of
his
the prevailing
posse?
things that are happening here is that what I'm hearing is this intense sort of discussion around self-hatred and when you're in a bigger body. And I wanted to ask people, like down the front there, you who's 20, are you?
Cool.
No. The question's been asked.
Yeah,
What's the
it's
answer?
us. What's the
I think
answer?
it's really interesting that I feel like
She
I
won't
need to
answer.
justify my existence.
Yes.
in this
No,
room
but
right
hang on a
now.
minute.
You asked the
her
question.
to
You asked her a
justify
question,
decision.
justify her
She's
decision.
happy. I didn't ask her
Yeah.
to justify what her health issues now or if there is any.
But have you got any health issues?
No, I'm perfectly
And
happy.
I'd love to know, like, what do you see as healthy with eating?
Yeah, it's interesting that you've just assumed that I eat bad food because
No,
of
I
my
know. I'd love to
size.
know, because if you're really healthy, do you have any joint issues, or so you're
I
completely?
swim 2.5 kilometres a day. I walk. I exercise all the time. I am,
She's
a
delusional.
team, and I really resent the fact that I have to actually justify my existence and my ability to live in the world in a bigger
She
body.
swims
But we're
2.5
all
kilometers
talking
a day.
about
You mean
health
you
tonight.
sink?
I mean, the whole show is about
You don't
weight and
swim.
health.
No,
So
what
it's
we've
not
been
an
talking about is
unreasonable.
surgery.
She
We
sinks.
haven't actually talked about the possibility that you can actually live in your life.
No, but we
in
have.
this body.
We have talked about that. But all I'm saying is that a question to anyone about what they eat in the context of this program, anyone in this room,
It's a fair
is perfectly
question.
reasonable, I think.
It's interesting that they've only been directed at fat.
She eats
No,
cabbage
it's
and
not about
salad.
being fat or not being fat. It's about what everybody eats. Well, it's about what everybody eats and what health is.
We're
What
being
health is.
asked.
That our
No, I'm asked. No. I'm not conflating anything. I'm saying I think it's perfectly reasonable in the context.
The ladies
of
that
a
are
discussion
overweight
where you've got research that suggests that
don't
people
want to
who are
answer the
overweight
question.
and people who are obese can be more prone to particular health problems. I think it's quite reasonable in that context when we're talking about diet, we're talking about losing weight, gaining weight.
Look at their faces.
Yeah, I just want to. Oh, okay. I just want to disagree with Lauren there. I feel a heavy amount of animosity towards you, but thank you for bringing this ignorance to our campus, because I think it's important when you hear people from different sides, and because of the First Amendment, I can say that, right? But I do have a real question in there. Your video,
Really?
There was no question mark at the end. This was going to be a real downer.
Yeah.
in your video where you debunk white privilege, you talk about how white privilege is a made-up term by privileged minorities. So I was wondering if you can elaborate on some of the privileges that you think minority groups have.
Okay, so in privileges in law, so when I say privilege, I'm actually going to talk about legal standing. Okay, so affirmative action is a privilege. Affirmative action is a privilege.
Yes.
Subprime mortgage is designed to appeal to minority recipients without proper qualifications. If that is a privilege. Right, those are a couple examples of privilege. Privilege would also be the police being told that they can't police in communities the same way they would in other communities because they don't understand the problems of minority communities. That's privilege.
That's BS. It's privilege. It's BS privilege.
But these are, as an overall matter, but it is certainly it's very difficult for me to see how it's not a privilege to get a lower score on the SAT than the Asian guy who's living in exactly the same circumstance. He gets penalized 50 points. You get 230 points on the SATs. That is definitionally a privilege. So there's one. Do you disagree?
Yeah, but I don't want to take up everyone's time. So
Yeah, she can't answer the question because she's an idiot.
Like reverting back to the civil rights movement. Now we're telling fat folks that they have to buy an extra seat. Not too long ago, my grandparents had to sit on the back of a bus. It's like, it's almost like segregating folks based on the way they look.
I can't imagine. Did you really say that?
Calm down. Don't act like you're offended by KKK. I mean, you're so offended by me saying that your approach is so tough.
Why do you keep acting like a victim, though? That's what I'd like to know.
No, you, first of all,
another body positivity.
I don't think we can let something about the KKK just sit there. I find that so incredibly offensive and offensive to the people who at the hands of that despicable organization have suffered.
You are coming from a totally different place than Jillian is coming from.
Why would you project something like that on
Because
stage?
you're projecting it, own it. If it is what it is, I would respect you so much more. Say what it is. You have a problem with fat people. I would respect you so much more if you said, look, fatty, I can't stand you. I hate you. Get the weight off.
No, I understand you're passionate about this. You know, this is a picture of you with your grandmother. And you obviously...
I obviously hate her, don't I? Just hate her. Hate my mom, hate my dad. Why could you say something like that? You know nothing about me other than the propaganda.
You know nothing
May
about
I finish
me.
one statement?
You know nothing about me.
I haven't gotten to finish one statement.
Because
if
it's
you
big
read
mouth
my
and
blog,
loud mouth.
If you go to actionagainstobesity.com, if you go to findingthin.com, you'll find out what I really am. And then if you want to criticize me, criticize me. Don't criticize me based on what the pro-fat movement writes about me. I wouldn't
Body positivity? Come on,
But
lady.
don't say that I hate a certain group of people when nothing could be further from the truth.
Aside from the statistics, let's look at the notion that women over the past 40 years, we are better educated, which means we have more financial freedom. We don't need a man like we may have needed a couple of decades ago. Do you think there's any truth to the argument that perhaps men feel sort of threatened because they no longer have that power or do you think there's any...
No, I think the average man's doing quite fine. They ignore most of the left feminist claptrap. They ignore people like Van, who are a very, very minority interest in our society. She's a self-declared anarchist, way, way on the extreme left of politics, representing perhaps 0.001% of thought in Australia. So she's safely ignored. The real issue for men is can they keep up with the education system at the moment. Among university graduates leaving every year, 40% are male, 60% are female, a massive advance for women in this country. And when you look at the bottom of society, when you get away from Van's debate about women like her, because left feminism is essentially selfish. Can I hear? Can I speak, Andrew, without you being a participant? Are you a participant in this show or a host?
Are
you a professional host or a participant?
I'm trying to get to the bottom of the issue, but you try and insult the other guests.
Are you the host of this program, professional and cool? Or a participant? You should declare what you're doing at the beginning of the segment. You should declare your interest at the beginning of the segment. Because I can tell you the viewers had a gutful of you having a bet each way. Pretending you're a host, but really being a left-wing participant in the debate.
I am trying to get to the bottom of the issue. I have no doubt
that there are some... defending Van because I made a valid point.
Sturm, please. I have no doubt that there are some legitimate concerns that men have about certain
there's a male
issues.
feminist.
Now, you talk about, you know, there being more graduates than women than men. Great, okay, legitimate concern. Okay, we talk about the family law system, apparently these days being skewed away from men in favour of women. Just Van, please. To create inequitable results. These are worth exploring. But do you need to run down feminism in order to explore those issues?
We have a male speaking on the issue.
Well, why don't we try and keep away from personal attacks?
Can I defend myself, please, or is a man going to speak over me about me?
No, you're trying to speak over us as ever.
Yes, you are speaking over me, Mark.
Here
You're proving my point, Mark. You're not even letting me talk about myself. Now, I've known you for 20 years.
No, you haven't.
I met you when I was an undergraduate at the University of Wollongong.
Well,
you know for a fact I'm from a working class family from the suburbs of Sydney, and I write about that in my work all the time. You have to deal with the fact
fact, Mark, that your position is the extremist one. I'm from the suburbs. I'm state school. I'm University of Wollongong, and I'm a feminist commentator.
You're a lunatic.
Okay.
You're a fourth, fifth, sixth-way feminist.
That women are discriminated against in this society. Let's talk about those trains and the need for safe carriages.
Van, can you just give us a moment?
On a train when you were a teenager? Because I was.
Excuse me, Van.
So that's against men now? All men?
But I think personal tax
just because you were assaulted
at this stage.
You're going to blame that on everybody?
The practicality on the 11:30
Mark, good on you with your personal attacks. Good on you, mate. Good to see you sticking to the topic again.
Well, I am sticking to the topic. It just shows how little you know about the practicalities of life in the suburbs, because the idea that
I don't live in a suburb, I live in a cloud.
No, you live in cloud cuckoo land, absolutely. So look, the point is that if you're on the 11:30 train out of the city and there's a women's only carriage and you're a bad bloke who wants to do damage, well, you go straight in. You're not going to respect the pink colour.
That's a really insightful comment, Mark. Good on you.
He had to tell you what's going to happen.
Get out of your limo, pal.
It's so nice to have a constructive debate.
Get out of your limo. There you go, elitist twit.
And thank you, Van. Thank you, Rory, for your insights, and thank you, Mark, for your entertainment.
Colour pink's going to protect you. Well, thanks for your objectivity, Andrew.
There you go.
Next week you can go back to being a proper professional host instead of participant. If you want to participate, declare that at the start of the segment, and you might.
There you go. Oh, you got him. Yes.
All white people
nice.
are
Man, that guest, okay, I was having that back and forth with the fifth, sixth, seventh wave feminist out there, and just literally, going after her and going after her ideas. And then on top of that, he got upset because the co-host there, the man, is basically, giving his opinion too, and he's absolutely right when he said, "Hey, the next time, Mac, if you want me to come on the show, just put your objectivity, lay it out on the table, and let us know where you stand instead of being objective." I mean, that's what you have to do, right? It just sort of depends. Let them know where you stand on the issue, because as the co-host or the host, you're supposed to have a moderate exchange. Allow the exchange to occur. And then maybe if somebody's going off on a tangent, you sort of reel them back in. Or if they've asked a question, they're ducking it, you can rewind a little bit and ask the person to say, you know what? They asked you a valid question. Are you going to give a response? And, you'd maybe go back in there once or twice. But if they don't want to answer the question, you can't do much. But this guy, this co-host here, just wanted to score some points with the ladies, as they would say down under, with the ladies, right? I hope that's not a really good, I don't know if that's a really good Australian accent or not really sure. Anyways, folks, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. Man, speaking of which, that lady, the mom in the beginning, can you imagine if moms in the hood, if moms in the ghettos, if single moms actually policed their children and raise their children the way that mom did in Baltimore? Oh my goodness. Oh my God. OMG, OMG, OMG. Could you imagine the turnaround that we would have here in our inner cities, especially among our black youth, black teenagers, young black children, young black males, and not only that, young black females as well? That was incredible, folks. How many times do you see that happening, where a child is getting literally a beat down by his mom and a teenager at that? Anyways, now we're going to say to you, thanks for taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasser Shake Show. I've been your host, Dr. Nasser. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, like, share, and follow us. If you like our content, let us know in the comments below. What'd you think of the mom? If that had been your son doing something like that, would you have taken the her choice there and just start doing it right out in broad daylight, right in public? I'll leave with my final thought. When you're right, you're right. That mom was right. And when you're left, you're wrong. Until next time, folks, take care and stay safe.